beginning to hear voices, and there's no one around. Well, I'm all used up, and the fields have turned brown. I went to church on Sunday, and she passed by. My love for her has taken such a long time to die. I'm waist deep in the mist. It's almost like I don't exist. I'm 20 miles out of town, cold irons bound. Welcome to Songs of Experience, a Bob Dylan podcast where we explore the man and the music one song at a time. I'm your host, Henry Bernstein, and I'm really happy to welcome back one of my best friends, acclaimed filmmaker, and now Bob Dylan author, Michael Glover Smith, here to talk about my favorite track from 1997's Time Out of Mind, Grammy award-winning Cold Irons Bound.
Yeah.
Michael!
Henry, thank you for having me for the fourth time.
So I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, fourth time around. So this is officially the fourth time as an episode, but we did a bonus episode, which would make this your fifth time. So like SNL, I don't have a jacket for you to be the Five Timers Come. However, I have a present for you, a surprise for you. So this
No.
is in celebration of your new book, Bob
What?
Dylan as a Filmmaker, No Time to Think. Please open this up. You can just pull it right out of
Oh my
there.
goodness.
I'm pretty sure you don't have this.
Are you kidding me? Four songs from Ronaldo and Clara. People Get Ready and Never Let Me Go, side one, and Isis and It Ain't Me, Babe, side two.
So
Henry.
this was not commercially available,
Yeah,
but I tracked it down.
it was a demo.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And so for folks that don't know, Bob Dylan as a filmmaker, No Time to Think, a main feature of the book is you talking about Ronaldo and Clara. And so I wanted to get a grail item that perhaps you didn't have.
This is a grail item, and I spend a lot of time talking about People Get Ready specifically
I
in
know.
the film. So wow, this is perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So welcome to the Five Timers Club. We might have done two bonus, which would make you the Six Timers Club, but all right, whatever. We flew to Florida together. To see a
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then we did something
A bonus show after
after A Complete Unknown, and then also
Name.
you and Adam did a bonus thing after you flew to
After Phoenix.
Phoenix Outlaw. So this may be your sixth time, but whatever. I wanted to save it for this moment. So thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on the premiere of your fifth feature film, Hecla, on March 6th,
Thank you.
and the release of your amazing book, Bob Dylan as Filmmaker, No Time to Think. We don't have to go through your origin story because folks should check out episode 1 of Songs of Experience, Tempest, to hear your origin story. And of course, people have heard me talk to you many, many times. So I encourage everyone to check that out. But we've got some great lyrics to get into. Plus, I've got a million questions about your book. But first, I want to share some stats on the song. Time Out of Mind was recorded in January 1997, released on September 30th, 1997. Cold Irons Bound features Bob Dylan on vocals and guitar. The other musicians on this track, a lot of familiar faces: Daniel Lanois on guitar, Bucky Baxter on guitar, Tony Garnier on bass, Augie Myers on organ, Bob Britt on guitar, David Kemper on drums, produced and engineered by Lanois, Mark Howard, Chris Carroll, and Jack Frost, Dylan's producer name. So, Mike, why this song, and what is your relationship to Time Out of Mind?
Well, Time Out of Mind is one of my favorite Dylan albums. All right. It's definitely in my top 10. And it always has been. Uh, Sometimes I think it's been in the top five, and I think it kind of fluctuates. But I bought it when it came out. I was a huge fan, so I've been listening to it for 29 years
We're
almost.
coming up on 30.
It's hard to believe.
I know. It
It's
feels
just
like
like
fragments just came out.
I know.
Yeah.
Although that was 1 year late
Right.
for the 25th anniversary.
Right.
But I think the album is a masterpiece, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this song is because it's prominently featured in Masked and Anonymous, which is, of course, a chapter in my book. But I'm fascinated that it's your favorite song off this album because I was thinking about it earlier and I thought, there are, I think, 6 other songs on this album that are more beloved and more famous than Cold Irons Bound.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like this one got a music video or now I'm jumping ahead here. I'm going to talk about this later, but I just can't, since we're talking about that specific thing. We all know that Time Out of Mind is Bob Dylan's big Grammy comeback album. I
Yeah.
think like in terms of like the world being reintroduced to Bob Dylan. I think that's pretty widely accepted at the Bob Dylan Center. There's a whole section on Time Out of Mind and the Grammys. And it not only won Album of the Year, which is it's the best picture of the Grammys.
Yeah.
It's the last award. It also won Best Contemporary Folk Album, which is just funny to me. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, I guess we'll give Bob the folk album one,
Yeah.
And even though it's not a folk album, but okay, it's like, what is a contemporary folk album? I don't know. It's just like whatever is contemporary at the time, and Bob Dylan's on.
No, it's if you used to be a folk artist.
But the other amazing thing is that I think gets lost in the shuffle is that Bob Dylan won Best Vocal Rock Performance for Cold Irons Bound.
Yes.
Not for Not Dark Yet, not for Standing in the Doorway, not for Make You Feel My Love. I mean, all of Lovesick, all of these like songs where his voice is so hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah.
So what is it about this song that you think was like either that they decided to submit for that or that certainly earned and his voice is incredible on it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
stacked up to, like you said, the six others that are, timeless.
Well, let me tell you what the six others are.
Sweet.
Okay, Lovesick, Not Dark Yet, Trying to Get to Heaven, Standing in the Doorway, Highlands,
Hmm.
and Make You Feel My Love. I think all of those songs are, more prominent in the imaginations of most Dylan
Poor
fans.
Dirt Road Blues, just catching strays from you, and Dylan, if he never played it live.
But, here's why I think he was submitted in that category. The category was best rock vocal male. And I think by rock, they wanted to submit an up-tempo song.
Mhm.
There are only three up-tempo songs on Time Out of Mind. Can't Wait and Dirt Road Blues.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else is slow. Later, Dylan actually criticized the album for not having enough up-tempo songs. Yeah, he basically said, I never wanted to get caught without enough up-tempo songs again.
Was that part of the struggle with Lenoir? Like when
I don't know. I don't know if it was a Lanois thing or if it was maybe just a hindsight realization that he had. But Cold Iron's Bound stands out from the other songs.
it really does. And I was actually surprised when I was looking at the research and the statistics for that and saw that I was like, I completely forgot about that he won. I feel like that never gets talked about, that he won best male rock vocal. That's a big deal. And I don't know if that one was televised or not, but
I'll bet if you looked at that category for other artists who've won it, it would be probably for the most famous song off of their albums, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, and obviously like the Grammys, they're sort of bull,
Yeah.
and especially now it's like hard, sometimes I'm dating myself, but it is when trying to watch it, even as a Swiftie, I'm like, I don't know who the these people are. In '97, the people that could have been in that category, I don't know who else was in it. I should look up. Maybe it was like Eddie Vedder, James Hetfield, who knows? But like people that were rock vocalists, you didn't think of Bob Dylan in 1997 as a rock vocalist. And so to me, that's almost an even bigger deal than winning. I mean, this is the undisputed king of Bob Dylan albums. This is deserving album of the year. You can't argue that this wasn't album of the year, but I could imagine someone making a case for someone else winning best rock vocal. So that's why I'm just so impressed with that.
Yeah.
And what is the thing we as Dylan fans have to hear all the time about Bob Dylan?
He can't sing.
He can't sing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like his song. He's a really good songwriter, but that voice and like here he won Best Male Rock Vocal for the album that was the best album.
Yeah, deservedly so.
Deservedly so. Yeah, I mean, so we'll get a little more into his voice in a little bit. The second verse, the walls of pride are high and wide, can't see over to the other side. It's such a sad thing to see beauty decay. It's sadder still to feel your heart torn away. One look at you and I'm out of control, like the universe has swallowed me whole. I'm 20 miles out of town, in cold irons bound. All right, so we've covered two stanzas so far. He seems to be singing to someone.
Yeah.
Is this a love song? Is it kind of is it murdery, like make you feel my love, or stalkery, like make you feel my love? Is it like what is happening here, do you think, from at least those first two
I
stanzas?
I don't think this song is as concrete as some of the other songs on the album.
Mhm.
Like Trying to Get to Heaven is a song about trying to get to heaven.
Yeah.
And it's about him traveling around. And traveling is kind of a motif
Mhm.
that runs through the album. But I think the lyrics to this song are less important than the music. I think he wrote it very fast. I know you want to touch on that later,
Mhm.
how he wrote it. And I think he does something that he's done a lot since then, which is sort of to take other song lyrics and song titles and kind of, throw them together. And I think
Mix it all up, make
and
a
mix it all
robot
up, yeah.
commando,
And
yeah.
I think it is sort of a lost love song, but I think he wrote it fast and he was just putting together phrases that he thought sounded good, you know,
I'm searching for
in about 10
phrases.
minutes while in the studio.
It might be one of those things that you talk about in the book about that, quoting Larry Charles, both in that interview he did, but also in the video that you can see at the Bob Dylan Center, where he talks about, the case of the scraps of things. Like there's a lot of, and I know, Scott Warmoth has pointed out the various things that Bob's referencing, and this certainly seems like one of those songs that's
Yeah.
full of those references to literature and blues and 18th century, songs and things like that.
Yeah, I can tell you right off the top of my head. I mean, The Fields Have Turned Brown is a
Mhm.
Stanley Brothers song. It's a
Mm,
bluegrass song.
mm,
The lines, I went to church on Sunday
mhm.
as she passed by, that's from Handsome Molly, which is an Irish
Oh,
folk song. I went to
wow.
church on Sunday, Molly came riding by.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he did that back in the early 60s. And then, of course, Whiskey in the Jar is,
Yes.
one of the greatest Irish folk songs
Right.
ever,
Right.
which I don't think he's ever done, but
No.
uh,
Yeah. I know it from Thin Lizzy and Metallica, but
well, the Thin Lizzy version is the best.
yeah.
The Dubliners
The
have done
Dubliners, of
it
course,
with
yeah.
Shane MacGowan.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and I think he might do that more on this song than he does on some of the others.
This feels more like Love and Thefty in that way.
Yes, it's more love and thefty, and I think again that's because David Kemper was playing a beat. He had a yellow legal pad, and he had to whip up a batch of lyrics pretty quick.
Let's talk about that. So this song has so much going on, and if you just look it up on Wikipedia, you'll find this great quote from drummer David Kemper.
And David Kemper is the drummer on Love and Theft.
Oh, of course.
He was
Okay.
the drummer that preceded George Rosselli, and I think this song is the only song he plays on Time Out of Mind,
Oh, okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
He had different he had did was Rosselli wasn't there yet on Time Out of Mind, right?
No, Rosselli didn't join the band until after until 2002.
Oh, okay.
But I think there was a weird thing where David Kemper wasn't available. He had other commitments, so
Mm,
he only bothered to show up for 2 days, and that was the one song they
wow.
did, and then he left. David Kemper says, "I heard this disco record with a Cuban beat, and when I got to the studio, I sat back at the drums and I slowed the beat down and turned it upside down, and I was just playing, and there was nobody there. No one was expected for a half hour. So I was playing this drum beat, and then Bob snuck up behind me and said, 'What are you playing?' I said, 'Hey, Bob, how are you today?' He said, 'No, don't stop. Keep playing. What are you playing?' I said, 'It's a beat. I'm just writing it right now. Don't stop it. Keep doing it.' And he went and got a yellow pad of paper and sat next to the drums, and he just started writing. And he wrote for maybe 10 minutes. And then he said, 'Will you remember that?' And I said, 'Yeah, I got it.' And then he said, 'All right, everybody, come on in. I want to put this down.' Well, I got it in my head, and by then everyone had arrived and tuned up. And take one, he stepped up to the microphone, and I'm beginning to hear voices, and there's no one around. And I think we did 2 takes, and then he said, "All right, let's move on to something else."
Oh my God.
I remember Daniel Lanois was not happy. He didn't like it. It was one of his guitar breaking incidents. He said to Tony Garnier and I, "The world doesn't want another 2 note melody from Bob," and he smashed a
That's
guitar.
insane.
So I thought, well, there goes my chance of being on this record. Next time I saw Daniel was at the Grammys because we had performed that night, and all of a sudden, male vocal performance of the year came from that song, the one that Dan was adamant wouldn't get on the record.
There's so much there.
Yeah,
I mean, first of all, how rock and roll that in 1997 someone's breaking guitars. Like that's like stuff from like 30 years before or 20 years
yeah,
before. Like, but and not only that, it's not like Bob was doing, the producer was having a temper tantrum and he actually smashed a guitar. Okay, Pete Townsend, chill.
right.
And so first of all, that the thing that blows me away at first though is that Dylan grabbed the legal pad and started writing to a drum beat.
Yeah,
That is just the master at work.
absolutely.
Doesn't need a bass note chords, doesn't need his guitar. He can write something like this to a drum beat.
Right,
And a interesting, different kind of not, not four on the floor or anything.
right,
It's like a
right.
Cuban thing that he turned upside down, whatever that means. I'm not a drummer, but
Yeah,
and that's incredible. And and, and then that I love when Bob Dylan gets vindicated for the things that it seems like it always happens to, well, not always, but sometimes it doesn't, but that he gets vindicated for the things that people are like, absolutely not. We saw it, in the 60s with, going electric, and
yeah,
obviously he was right about that.
yeah.
But like then, 40 years later, 30 years later, he's in a studio fighting with the producer, and this is what he wanted. Like he's Bob Dylan. It's his record. The chutzpah of this guy to be mad about it. And then
Yeah.
Dylan was right. He won best vocal performance. I mean,
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about Lanois' production? Because I know that's divisive among fans. I mean, some people feel like the album is overproduced and it would be better without Lanois' fingerprints on it.
I don't know how to unlearn or forget the experience of hearing Time Out of Mind for the first time and then hearing it over the next 20 years until Fragments came out and the
Yeah.
2022 mix came out. So I still will say it is the superior version of the album, and I sort of don't know anything else other than that, and I love the album. However, listening to the mix, what's the name of the guy who remixed it?
I think it's Michael Brower,
Could
maybe.
be, could
Yeah.
be. Who did the 22 mix, and you're all of a sudden, this is a great example of this song. The organ you can't really hear. Augie Myers, you can't hear that well.
Yeah.
A little bit on the Time Out of Mind. At least my ears. And it's really up. Things like that are things like on
Make You Feel My Love.
Make You Feel My Love.
The drum.
But there's drums on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That was
so
mind blowing.
so I can't, I'm not prepared to say I like the 2022 mix more, but to say it's overproduced, I mean, that's what you get with Daniel Lanois. He's like a less murderous version of the Wall of Sound,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it's just his thing. We heard Oh Mercy, we know what that is.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think the best version of the album is the original
Yeah.
release. And I think I understand why people object to it, but my point of view is that you don't have those songs without Lanois as the producer because he influenced Dylan as Dylan was writing the songs. He influenced the arrangements. It's not just the production. Standing in the doorway, Dylan, Lanois told Dylan, I want to kind of steal the feeling of Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands for this song. And Dylan said to him, do you really think that'll work? And Lanois said, yeah. And then that's how they landed on that arrangement.
Mm,
And so, who knows what it would have sounded like if Lanois hadn't pushed him in that direction.
right.
And I think it's good for someone to push Bob
Oh, sure.
occasionally. I think this album and Oh Mercy to me are both masterpieces. They're
Agreed.
both in my top 10.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't. you can't unsee what we've already seen. So I think it's a little unfair and I think a little disingenuous and maybe a little dishonest when someone says, "Oh, the 2022 mix is better," or like they fixed the Lenoir thing. Like
Yeah.
you love if you're saying that you loved Time Out of Mind before that. So let's
Yeah,
be
yeah,
real.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's to me it's a perfect album. I like and it's again with Bob Dylan, we can have both. Like you get to have it all. You
Right.
can listen to whatever version you like.
And we have all the outtakes.
And do all the outtakes. We have so much there. Yeah. Okay, so we were saying that there was a lot happening with the drums, right? And then there's a lot of fun stuff happening. So you get the sort of Grateful Dead style fake tuning at the beginning. It's a
Yes.
solo, it's a
Yeah.
intro, but it's a little like Thunder on the Mountain.
That kind of primordial ooze that the
Yeah.
melody eventually
Yeah.
comes out of.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love
I
that.
love that. And then Tony coming
But
in, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, that groovy
dum dum
bass,
dum
and you're
dum.
just like, oh, it's
Right. I
yeah.
want to say that's Tony Garnier's greatest bass line of any Bob Dylan studio recording.
Can you think of any other ones like maybe Make You Feel My Love?
I can think of a few
Yeah,
others.
yeah.
I mean, I love his upright playing on Tin Angel.
Hmm.
You know, that's
Hmm.
really prominent.
Hmm.
And then on the standards albums, every time he plays the bow, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
But you're right. I mean, Tony's role is always very subtle.
It's
He's
supportive.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's there to connect the drums
right,
to the
right, right.
guitars. But that bass line is so prominent. It's like, yeah, you can hum
Yeah. You
it.
get two different intros. You get whoever's doing that guitar intro and that fake tuning, and then you get boom, ba-doom, ba-doom with Tony. It's
Do-do,
just
do-do.
it's just the way that the song goes from thing to thing, and then like you said, the what like I said, I'm sorry, the organ, especially in the 2022 mix, comes in. And then you also get that thing that you and I love because we've seen on Rough and Rowdy Ways many times is those bam chords after every verse.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's obviously very prominent on Masked and Anonymous. That's
yeah,
sort of the version they go with. We'll talk about that version in a little bit. And then of course Dylan's vocal, award-winning vocal.
yeah,
It's the song is sort of stacked perfectly with all of the elements that make a great Bob Dylan song with his band.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about all those things,
Well, it's
together?
crazy to me that they only did two takes.
Yeah,
And we can hear them both. There was the first version, which is on
right,
fragments, and
right.
then the second version is what ended up on the album because it feels so arranged,
Yeah.
and the fact that Lanois was pissed off because he didn't like the song, he thought the melody was too simple. It's crazy that they worked up something that elaborate that quickly. It's like they recorded that in one day, probably in an hour or two. And then, it went on to win a Grammy and he performed it God knows how many times. I know you have it
We'll get
written
to
down. But
yeah.
so, it became a huge song. But
Yeah.
that's kind of typical of Dylan, right? It's sort of like he's an instinctive artist.
Right.
And he has said, um, with regard to songwriting that if it doesn't come to him quickly, it's never good. Like he doesn't like laboring too hard over something. Um, and apparently, he was just inspired.
Like sometimes when he spends a lot of time on something, he then just puts it away and we never see it until 30 years later when it's on a
A bootleg
biograph
series.
or a bootleg or something.
Well, the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
example of that is Too Late,
Yes, yes.
aka Foot of Pride.
Right.
I
From the
believe,
Springtime in New York bootleg.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
That
he
song's
did
so good.
more takes of that song than he's ever done of any song,
Yeah.
and then he left it off the album, which is hilarious.
Right. It is hilarious. Yeah, it's this is like a great example, I think, of Bob finding his way with the band, like having with his guys. Like this album has a lot of different people on it,
Yeah,
many of whom have toured with him. Like Bob Britt is on this album, and now
yeah,
is has been on tour with him for 5 years. Like we see a lot of those guys, but this seemed to be the core group of people in the way that like Tony is there holding down the
Yeah.
bass and David Kemper we talked about. Um, and even Augie Myers on organ, like, I know those touring bands in those early 90s, or sorry, late 90s and early aughts didn't quite have the piano yet.
Hmm.
Um, but there's something sort of live bandy about Augie Myers there
Yeah, totally.
playing keys.
Well, I think this was more of a live in the studio album than say Under the Red Sky
Mm.
or Oh Mercy. I think there was a lot more overdubbing on those. And I
Yes.
think, people when the musicians who were there for Time Out of Mind talk about it, it's like they were all in a circle
Yeah.
playing and I think Jim Dickinson said it was kind of chaotic because there would be two drummers playing at the same time. There was just so many people
Yeah.
playing. And then I think in the mixing stage, they started pulling things out, which is why the remix is so fascinating because they add back in,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the other thing I love, and this is a total tangent, but Highlands, you can hear Bucky Baxter playing the
Yes,
dobro.
yes.
Again, it's just like, oh, there's a whole other instrument
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good example. I forgot
Yeah.
about that one. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. There's too many people, too many to recall. I thought some of them were friends of mine. I was wrong about them all. Well, the road is rocky and the hillside's mud. Up over my head, nothing but clouds of blood. Found my world in you, but your love just hasn't proved true. I'm 20 miles out of town in cold irons bound. 20 miles out of town, cold irons bound. There's some good Bob Dylan rhymes there, mud and blood.
Yeah.
And I love that the official lyrics are, I thought some of apostrophe M were friends of mine. Some of them were friends of
Some
mine.
of them.
It's like
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. That seems very sort of positively Fourth Street, like a Rolling
Yeah.
Stone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like too many people, like all the people that have
Done me
thought,
wrong.
yeah, or
Yeah.
sort of thought they were right about Bob Dylan, and thought they presented themselves as friends, and no, they were
Yeah.
wrong. It's like maybe he wasn't thinking about that with that line. It's just like a good rhyming line, but you can't not think about the history of Bob Dylan with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
in the way, I think you and I were really moved and maybe inspired by A Complete Unknown and the storytelling in that. And that's certainly a definitely something that keeps happening in that movie of like people who say they're friends, but maybe they're not.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, you
totally.
know.
Yeah.
What is the phrase 20 miles out of town, cold irons bound mean? Like, what is cold irons bound?
Yeah,
Is
that's
cold irons a place and he's heading there, or is it a state of being?
yeah, that's a great point because years ago I used to think about this because I thought, is he saying he is bound
Or
for cold irons? Like that's where I am bound.
or is
I
it
am going there.
bound like
I
tied
think
up?
it's the latter because
It's
on
bound by cold
he's
irons
bound in cold
in
iron.
cold iron. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, oh, like how handcuffs are
yes,
would sometimes
yeah,
be referred to as iron.
exactly. Yeah, he's shackled in cold irons. That's how I interpret it. And I actually looked at the official lyrics and it's in cold irons bound. But a long time ago I couldn't tell if he was saying in or and.
Yeah.
I'm 20 miles out of town and cold irons
Yeah, 'cause
bound.
he sings mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And also, if you say that you're 20 miles out of town, that kind of suggests that's where you're headed. Like
Right.
like in another 20 miles, I'll be there, right?
Right. So
Um,
so meaning he's he's 20 miles out of town because maybe that's where the prison is.
yeah,
Quite often it's the prison is or whatever. Maybe he's shackled
yeah,
20 miles. I see.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I never really thought about it that much. I just like the song. I just love it.
yeah,
But in spending a lot of time with this song over the last few days, weeks, I couldn't. I think I probably also thought and at some point
yeah,
in. I mean, certainly. I mean, part of my ritual with a new Bob Dylan album is following along in the lyrics. Definitely the first time hearing it.
yeah,
It was one of my early Bob Dylan albums. Like I bought. I remember this is like a crazy CD thing. They had like a set of Um, Blood, oh, Blood on Blonde, Blood on the Tracks, and Time Out of Mind as a three set
Oh, I
sequence.
remember that.
Why those three?
Yeah.
But great. I mean,
Yeah.
it got me into, I mean, those are three all-timers, three of my
Yeah.
favorites. You know, Blood on the Tracks is my favorite album of all time. So you got like,
Someone got paid to come
yeah,
up with that idea.
yeah, exactly. So it was a great way to get Time Out of Mind. So, I got that pretty early on.
Wait, I have something else to say about
Yeah.
this in versus
Okay,
and
please.
thing. Songs were meant to be heard. They were not meant to be read on the page,
Right. He
especially
said that.
Dylan's song. He
Yeah.
said it in his Nobel lecture.
Right. And you
Just
mentioned that in the book.
just like Shakespeare's plays were meant to see them.
Right.
And so I think it is possible that he could mean both things at the same time.
Hmm.
You know, a lot of people have pointed out in Shelter from the Storm when he sings, I've heard newborn babies wailing like a mourning dove.
Hmm.
Is he singing mourning dove or moaning
Morning
dove?
Dove. Yeah. Yeah.
It could be both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Splitting up on the docks at night or splitting up on a dark, sad night. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It,
Yeah.
it can be both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he sings it live, he might be saying
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
you can't
Yeah.
really tell.
Wait, I have to. This is again a digression, but
Yeah.
my favorite example is in Sugar Baby when he sings, Love is pleasing, love is teasing. The next line is, Love, not an evil thing. You would think he would sing, Love's not an evil thing, but there's no S there.
It's just love, not an evil.
Love, not an evil thing. So is
He
is
seems to be
he
talking about love as a like a feeling, a concept,
is
not an evil
is he
thing.
saying love is not an evil thing, or is he saying you should not? Is he saying love not an evil thing? Like do not love
An evil
an
thing.
evil thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's like a very biblical way of saying, look,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
biblical way of phrasing it.
Yeah.
Love not an evil
That's
thing.
good. That's
Listen
good.
to it. Listen
You'll
to
have to come back for Sugar Baby. I don't think we've done Love and Theft yet. So that's great. So Cold Iron's Bound has been performed an impressive 423 times, a rare time when BobDylan.com and BobServe agree. So one of the time BobServe has three extra ones, 426 for it, one sound check, one movie and one corporate gig. He played it on a corporate gig, and you can click on it and see what the
it.
corporate gig. I
Yeah,
love that Bob Serve includes those. Even Bob
that's
Dylan has done those,
yeah, yeah.
But this is the stat I love. So this puts it 47th on the all-time played list, top 50.
That's a lot.
That's a lot,
Yeah.
right? Listen to what it's sandwiched between. To Ramona and Lay Lady Lay. Those are two songs that are at many times have been a regular part of the set list.
Yeah.
We've seen To Ramona now many times because that was on the Outlaw set list, and Lay Lady Lay played that. He's played that in every decade,
Yeah.
So pretty impressive. He liked playing Cold Iron's Bound until he
He
stopped playing
he
it.
played it a lot in the 2000s.
Well, that is my next question, Michael. So we don't have to go over how many times you've seen Bob Dylan. We know you have seen Bob Dylan 100 times. I was there sitting next to you for the 100th in another country, a faraway land called Dublin. But have you ever caught a Cold Iron's Bound?
Many times. I should have looked and seen the exact number, but I know I've seen it a lot. And the first time would have been in 98, um, probably at the United Center
Well,
when Joni Mitchell opened. And then, many, many times over the next 10 to 12 years.
Well, Michael, your photographic memory has not failed you. Because of Bob Serve and
Yes.
because we are friends on there, I could see your stats.
Wow.
And yes, the 1998 United Center was your first time seeing Cold Iron's Bound. You have seen it 17 times.
Holy smokes.
And one of which we were at the same show but didn't know each other. It was either the 2009 or 2010 Aragon Riv Halloween show, one of those.
Yeah.
He played it back-to-back nights in 2009 on the 30th and the 31st. And then 2010, he played it again. And that is because in the fourth verse, oh, the
Yes.
winds in Chicago have torn me to shreds. Reality has always had too many heads. Some things last longer than you think they will. There are some kind of things that you can never kill. It's you and you only I've been thinking about, but you can't see in, and it's hard looking out. I'm 20 miles out of town in cold irons bound. So the Chicago
The
line,
Chicago of it.
it's kind of one of those things where you're hoping for it, and when you get it, it's so good. And if you listen to the bootlegs, and I did today,
Yeah.
from especially 2009, 2010, you can hear the crowd pop. And
Yeah.
maybe it's just because my brain wants me to remember it this way, but at the one of them, actually at both at the Riv and the Aragon, I was right up close. I took
Yeah.
crazy close-up pictures from those days. One of them, he was wearing a green silk shirt. It was on Halloween. Um, Beautiful. He like really popped. I remember a smirk after the crowd popped on one of
Yeah.
those. Maybe it's just I wanted to see that, but I think he knows what he's doing.
Oh, he definitely does. And this is funny because, people always say, again, it's sort of a cliche to say Dylan doesn't care about the audience. He gives you what he wants. He doesn't care about what you want. But that's bullshit because he frequently acknowledges where he is by what songs he chooses to play. Now, we saw this big time on Rough and Rowdy when he
Yeah.
was doing the
City specific.
city-specific covers,
Yeah.
Kansas City and so on and
Born
so
in
forth.
Chicago.
Born in Chicago and
Yeah.
Chicago. But this is sort of an early example of that
Yeah.
because he played this song. How many times has he played it in Illinois? Do you know?
Oh, I didn't check that, but a lot.
A
A
lot.
lot. Like
And
you listen, Mike, you've seen it 17 times.
yeah,
Only three or four of those were not in Illinois.
right.
And I saw it once out of Illinois too. I've seen it four times. One of them was in Bloomington, Indiana.
And I saw a lot of
You saw it in
shows.
Virginia. You saw
Yeah.
it in one of the Carolinas, I think, just from remember. So yeah, you saw. So
Okay, I have a remarkable story for you
okay,
about this song. And I never forgot this, and I looked it up to make sure that I was correct, and I was correct.
you did do your
I
research.
oh, I did that. I can't not do it.
Yeah.
This was the one thing I looked up before today's episode. Do you remember in 2003, he was there was one slot in the set list where he rotated between Drifter's Escape, The Wicked Messenger, and Cold Irons Bound?
Yeah,
Do you remember
of
that?
course.
I'm not I think he did it for multiple tours. But he definitely did it in the summer. And he was so consistent about it that you knew in advance what song you were going to get.
Like you could, if you knew the previous two nights he did Wicked Messenger and Drifter's Escape,
Then you knew you were
due
getting
for a cold.
Cold Irons Bound. Yes. You could set your watch by it. So
Wow.
here's how much he loves giving people what they want. He played in Joliet with the Dead. Were you there?
I was not.
Okay, summer of '03. It was great. That was the last time I saw Bob Weir.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, summer of '03. And the previous show, he had played Cold Irons Bound. I don't know where it was. But in Joliet, he played it again.
Because he was in
He
Illinois.
broke the pattern because he knew that that line would get a big reaction.
Do you recall that it did? Yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course it did.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's amazing.
To go back to my talk from Tulsa on Bob Dylan and professional wrestling. So as I mentioned then, it's what's called in wrestling a cheap pop. So
Yeah.
the wrestler Mick Foley as Mankind would often he'd come out and when he was fake commissioner of WWE, he would come out after he retired and he would say, we're gonna have a one match right here in Chicago or wherever they were. The crowd would go down, and then he'd say like cheap pop.
Yeah.
It's a thing, and
Yeah.
Bob Dylan's not above.
He's
a
not
cheap
above
pop.
it.
So
And I mean, he's done that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like when the great Madison Square Garden show after 9/11,
Yes.
he did Just Like Tom Thumb's Blues
Yeah.
when that was not a common song.
Right.
And the line, I'm going
Go
back to New York City, the crowd goes
erupted.
insane.
Yes.
It's like he did that for them.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
from his heart, you know?
in 2022 when I saw him at the Beacon and he opened with one verse of I'm in a New York State of
Yeah,
Mind, like it
yeah,
was crazy. Like we've seen him do these things.
yeah,
So I like that you said that you pointed out that people, like to criticize him for not, doing only what he wants to do.
yeah,
He can be a homer too, and
yeah,
I'm such a homer for Chicago. I think that's one of the reasons it's my favorite song on Time of
yeah.
Mine. I just like, oh, Bob Dylan said Chicago. It's like my favorite song on Modern Times didn't make it onto it. I'm still waiting to hear
Chicago
Chicago
After
After
Dark.
Dark. I'm still wondering when I'm going to get to hear that. But
If it really
yeah,
exists.
yeah, who knows who leaked that? But yeah, I mean, I love that's a thing for him. I wish he'd bring it back.
Yeah,
Could you imagine like a slowed down piano version of
I
him and
totally
and
can.
Anton Fig? It would be so good.
Hey, if Till I Fell in Love with You, then why not Cold Iron's
Right,
Bound?
exactly,
It could work.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, Mike. So let's talk about the book. So we're talking about Bob Dylan as filmmaker, No Time to Think. So first of all, in terms of leaving out, like you said, Dylan left out the apostrophe S. You left out as a filmmaker. So
Yeah.
this was the first thing I was first very curious about. What did you mean by that, Bob Dylan as filmmaker instead of as a
Well,
filmmaker?
the original title of the book was No Time to Think, Bob Dylan as Filmmaker, because I think dropping the A made it work better as a subtitle.
Mm.
And then my publisher flipped it.
Oh, Daniel Edward, you.
Yes, yes. They said well, they basically told me it'll be better for sales if his name is the first thing in the title.
Perfect.
And so I said, okay, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's better for sales. Great. You're not
exactly.
Bob about that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so, when it comes to like the copy editing stage, they made a lot of suggestions and I had to kind of choose my
Yeah.
battles.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one you didn't need you. Is there a difference in meaning between saying Bob Dylan as a filmmaker and Bob Dylan as filmmaker?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay. It's just
No. It just
wording.
tightens it up a
Yeah, tightens it
little.
up.
Yeah.
Great, great. Okay, so that wasn't even my first question. But so you argue Dylan's filmmaking and songwriting comes from a similar artistic process.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Dylan as a filmmaker, he's really more of an edit. Like his whole approach to directing is editing.
Mhm.
When you look at Eat the Document and Ronaldo and Clara, he shot those films very fast. I think it was stressful for him. I don't think he really wanted to tell people what to do. He complained about that in an interview with Martha Quinn. He said, I don't like
Right.
ordering people around, telling people what to do. Well, that's what directing is.
Right.
So he directed two movies and did not enjoy that. But what he likes to do is edit. So editing is kind of a solitary process, even though he had Howard Alk with him. Editing is like songwriting.
Mhm.
He's got the raw material and he's trying different things out, juxtaposing different shots. And he can do it on his own time, and I think editing that's kind of his approach to all of the arts. If you think about his painting, he's
Mhm.
taking stills for movies, transforming them
Mhm.
into paintings.
Or his revisionist art book.
Revisionist art,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where
Yeah.
he's really
Yeah.
combining different things. Or the sculpting,
Mhm.
he's taking scrap metal and putting it together to
Mhm.
create gates.
Mhm.
His songs, he's taking phrases from other songs, from movies, from books,
Mhm.
and then combining that. So he's an alchemist.
Mhm.
That's really what he is.
Mhm.
And I think if you are aware of that he shot all this documentary footage, and some of it, in the case of Ronaldo and Clara, he wasn't even there for a lot of the shooting of that.
Right,
It's
right,
like he had camera crews going out and shooting stuff, and he wanted to be able to draw from that
right.
and create in the editing room.
You say in the book that he's actually in Ronaldo and Clara not a very large amount of time in the actual runtime of the 4 hours.
Yeah, I think that was the thing that surprised me the most about Ronaldo and Clara because Pauline Kael famously said, no one has ever given themselves as many close-ups in the entire history of cinema
Oh my
as Bob
God.
Dylan gives himself in Ronaldo and Clara.
Right.
And when I saw the movie, I was like, wow, he's bare like even when he's on screen, he really doesn't say much in comparison to
Sort
the
of
other people.
observer or something.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just kind of there, and the scenes where people are improvising, it's really Ronnie Blakely and Ronnie Hawkins who are kind of have the big acting scenes. Um, and then he also allows all of the other performers on the Rolling Thunder Review to perform.
Right.
You see all of them.
Right.
So I think it's not the vanity project that a lot of people thought it was.
Yeah, I remember. I enjoyed reading that in your book that like making the case for like youth. That's what all the reviewers were saying, but it's all. I wonder, like, did they really sit there through all 4 hours?
Right, right. Did you even watch it?
Yeah, did you even watch it? So, do you think that process of the way he makes songwriting and filmmaking and the editing process? I think you said earlier, you hear that in Cold Iron's Bound.
Yeah.
Is there a part of the song that like you hear that the most, or is it sort of just the whole piece of it that it's like put together and you know?
I think it's really the whole song.
Mm.
Yeah, because like you said, there are certain lines where it sounds like he's singing about having a broken heart because someone did him wrong, and then there are other lines where it sounds like he's singing about the apocalypse.
Right.
Right. Over my head, nothing but clouds of blood.
Right.
So it's personal, but it also feels kind of cosmic.
Do you see that as like a structural thing or emotional or psychological, like, or is it a little bit of everything? Because that's what this song sort of is.
I think it's a little bit of everything, and I think he trusts his subconscious mind to put these things together. It's like when he was talking when they asked him, "Why did you sing about Anne Frank and the Rolling Stones and Indiana Jones?" He was like, "My brain just wanted to put those names together."
Yeah.
It's like it's not a conscious thing. It's not an intellectual thing.
Bob Dylan can't explain why his Bob Dylan brain did Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Does the song feel edited in the way that at least the three films you talk about feel edited, like in that process?
I think so. You're talking about the three films?
So like,
That's more true of Eat the Document and Ronaldo and Clara. And then it's true of the screenplay for Masked and Anonymous.
Right.
Because he wrote that, but it's not true of how Masked and Anonymous was shot.
But do you think that feels similar to the way the song and maybe the album at large was edited, or because there's so much Lenoir in it, it's actually different than that kind of process? Like maybe his stuff after Time Out of Mind is more part like that process where he can just be the person in charge.
Yeah, I think he moved more in that direction. I actually just had a great conversation with Laura Tinchard about this because the songs on Time Out of Mind, if you didn't know that he was quoting other things, it wouldn't really matter. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
It's like, you respond to the emotion of the lyrics. And when you listen to Love and Theft, you're supposed to know he's doing it. I mean,
it's literally called Love and Theft.
It's called Love and Theft, and it's in quotes. So he's telling you, I'm a thief.
Yeah.
And I'm a lover.
And I love it.
Yeah. And I love being a thief.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like he just moved further and further in that direction, I think.
Does Cold Iron's Bound function sort of like a Dylan film, sort of fragmented, non-linear, almost dreamlike?
Well,
you think?
Yes, and let's just get into the Masked and Anonymous of it because we should point out that this song is not only prominently featured in the film, it is the climax.
Yes.
So he chose that for a reason.
It's the closing number. It's like it's the like Rolling Stone, basically.
Right. It's the last song he played.
Yeah.
And also, it's the only song that the character Jack Fate plays at the televised benefit concert.
Yeah.
All the other performances we see before that are rehearsals, right? first he rehearses with the band in the little club, and then they're on the soundstage rehearsing songs, and that's the only song that's being broadcast. So clearly he wanted the right song for that moment. And I think it is a very cinematic song because of not only the lyrics, but the sound of it that you and I were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
And also it has, it's up tempo, it rocks, and it has kind of again an apocalyptic quality, like he needs something that will justify the shot of the militarized police storming the television studio
Yeah.
to shut down the concert, which is what happens. And that wouldn't work with a slower tempo song.
I mean, it's amazing that of all his entire canon,
He picked that one.
that's what he picked
Yeah.
for. And maybe he was, he doesn't talk about it, but maybe he was very proud of like the Grammy award for this specific song, and just as a being a standout on this album. I mean, this is now 6 years later, the movie, and we know that, as you say in the book, I think Larry Charles said there are 22 songs that were
Yeah.
performed. We only get a handful of them, unfortunately. But gosh, I mean, he could have played all along the Watchtower. He could have played any
Which would have
well-known.
been fitting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like any, so, I mean, he's got plenty of apocalyptic imagery in his song. So, what do you think that says about the song that Bob chose that to be the climax?
Well, I think you're right. I don't know if he cared so much about the award that he had won for it, but I do think he wanted to emphasize his recent work. He recorded a lot of Time Out of Mind songs for that film. They also did Standing in the Doorway,
Right,
although it didn't make the final version.
right.
They
It's on
put
the Blu-ray, right?
It's on the
Yeah,
Blu-ray,
yeah,
yeah, and it's a gorgeous
yeah.
performance. He doesn't play Not Dark Yet, but they play the studio version of it in the film,
Right, right, right.
So Time Out of Mind kind of, weaves throughout the whole thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess in those days he wanted to highlight those things, and I guess Love and Theft was very new at the time, and maybe when they were filming it, it probably was they were oh well, no, they filmed this. The turnaround
This was
is
summer of '02.
yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
it's definitely after Love and Theft came out, and post 9/11, obviously.
Yeah.
And what did you say they shot it in? It was like 20 days or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
20
that.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just incredible. The actual performance of Cold Iron's Bound. So I wanted to talk to you about the what is happening cinematically. So it's sort of like this, it's almost like a fisheye. Like there's
Yeah.
this strange sort of curvature. They get everyone in there perfectly in frame. I
Yeah.
mean, a little less than half of Charlie is cut off, especially when he does his
Yeah.
handsome Charlie stuff. And
Yeah.
Rosselli you can see in the little window.
Yeah.
Is that Larry Charles? Is that Bob Dylan? Like, explain the framing and
That's
how they came
both
up with that.
that's both Larry and Bob because Larry has talked a lot about how the two of them watched a lot of old
Yes, those old TV specials.
TV
Yeah,
specials. You can watch footage of Hank Williams
right,
performing
right,
and the Johnny Cash show. They watched a lot of that.
right. It's either like
And
one camera or two cameras, maybe.
right,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's sort of like there's n not a lot of editing and
right,
sometimes no editing.
right.
And so I think they find that more immersive. And by the way, that's how Dylan, a lot of his television performances since then are one take.
Yes.
And you have to wonder if that's in his contract. Like when he did the Tony Bennett special.
Which you say in the book is one of his probably his best TV
I
performances.
think so.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to argue that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to the way that the Train of Love
Johnny
tribute to
Cash.
Johnny Cash, it's basically like one take, the camera slowly pushes in
Yes.
until it's a close up on him and then it pulls back out.
Yeah. Hey Johnny, I just want to say hi.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it allows you to focus more on the music.
Mm.
It's like you're not being distracted by all the cutting and the camera popping around. And it's hard when you have five people. Were there five people in the band?
Bob, Charlie, Larry, Tony, and George. Yeah.
Yeah, so five people. It's hard to get all of those people in the frame.
Yeah.
So they did use a wide angle lens
Okay.
because the wide angle lens, you know,
So that's what creates that sort of
yes, it
curvature.
curves the space
Got it. Okay.
and therefore you can fit more into the frame. It's funny, every time you see the band performing, they're always arranged in a different way.
Mhm.
They're like these tableau, like compositions where they're all carefully arranged. And my favorite is when they do Dixie and Bob is sitting on a stool that's like regular height, and then Charlie is on this tiny stool right next to him, looking up at him and playing. It's hilarious.
It's so funny. Yeah, I love that.
So they're always in different, they're always in a different arrangement, but you can always see all of them.
Yeah.
So, a lot of thought went into that's basically blocking is what that is.
And that's really like the most compelling stuff to me in the film is because you also it's such a treat because you get to stare at Bob Dylan
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes uninterrupted.
Yeah.
And if you want to look at Larry, you can.
Right,
If
right.
you want to look at Charlie, you can, but you
Yeah.
get close, you get a perfect shot of Cowboy, that version, the 2003 Bob Dylan, which is
Yeah.
sort of my favorite Bob Dylan.
The pencil thin mustache.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
love the cowboy suit, he's in a cowboy band. But you get to see on Cold Air It's Brown, Larry playing the solo,
Yeah.
that intro solo, and then you can really watch him. He is perfectly doing that bam kind of
Yeah.
chords right as Bob's finishing the verse. He has it timed perfectly. Bob has these guys trained so perfectly. It's such a good performance.
So let's talk about this arrangement.
Yeah.
Because
It's slightly different.
when did he come up with it? I don't know. He had been doing it that way for at least a year. Because I also just Googled Cold Irons Bound live 2001, and there was a version from the summer of '01, and it was the Masked and Anonymous version.
Yeah.
So
There's one on Fragments also. There's a live one on Fragments.
is it from the late '90s?
It's from 5/19/2000.
Oh, now I would like to hear that, and I don't think that's yet the Masked and
version that's
Anonymous
on the Masked
version.
Anonymous. It's
Yeah,
more closer to
it's closer to the album.
yeah.
And basically the versions that are closer to the album, I think it got faster when he
Yeah.
started doing it live.
Yeah.
But the versions that are closer to the album, they're kind of playing while he's singing. And what makes Masked and Anonymous great, and Charlie credited Bob with coming up with that arrangement.
Oh, really?
Yes.
In what context?
In an interview.
Really?
It might be an uncut interview.
Oh, okay.
Where he said what Dylan did to that is simply amazing.
Wow.
But
Wow.
what he did was he told them to stop playing.
Uh-huh.
So it's like the guitars drop out and then they crash in at the end. And I feel like that arrangement kind of became the template for arrangements of other songs that he does to this day.
Mhm.
So even though we don't see him do Cold Irons Bound, we see him do Forgetful Heart.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Same thing.
right. Yeah.
And what was the one he did most recently on Rough and Rowdy Ways that we talked about how he was doing that kind of arrangement? I don't remember now.
Yeah.
My Own Version of You, maybe the new My Own.
It was
Version
My Own Version
Yeah.
of You. It's got the same
Yeah.
feel. It's
Yeah.
got the same feel. So I think, Dylan has always said that, or the people who play with him say the most important thing is the vocal and you don't step on that. And I think this arrangement of Cold Irons Bound is kind of the best example of how they're out, you get out of the way while he's singing and then you crash in at the very end of each line.
Do you think that Masked Anonymous is the best version of the song, or is the album?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I think it's the definitive arrangement.
Do you think it's
because
okay?
I don't think he ever changed it. I could be wrong, but he's
In the laters in the 2009s, 2010s that we were talking about, so it's very similar.
yeah.
Except he adds harmonica. There's
Oh,
a
hell
harmonica
yeah.
break before the Winds in Chicago line.
Yeah.
So he
Little,
somehow made it better.
Little homage to Little Walter, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah. Well, he sort of plays it like that. It's like is the
Yeah.
harmonica solo. It's sort of it's kind of like the intro a
Right,
little bit. But
right.
yeah, it stayed pretty close
And
with
and the last time he did it was when 2011,
that. Yeah, something like
something
that. A
like
long
that.
time ago,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny how he's done
Yeah.
with them at a certain
And
point.
then he
It's
moves
that
on.
he moves on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that that Dylan the filmmaker at any time overtakes Dylan the musician in the times when he is Dylan the filmmaker as filmmaker? Is he not Dylan the musician anymore, or does he contain multitudes? Is he always Bob Dylan as musician?
Well, I think it depends on the film, but in the case of Ronaldo and Clara, I think he really ceased being a musician during the editing of that film, because he spent all of 1977 editing the film.
Right.
Like he literally sacrificed a year
He
of
didn't
touring.
tour. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he toured every year between 1974 and 1981, except for 77.
Wow.
So,
So in that case, yes, he
yes.
certainly sort of dives right into Dylan as filmmaker.
Yeah,
That's his
absolutely.
persona.
Yeah.
Either document, I guess, you know, who knows what would have happened if the motorcycle accident didn't
Yeah,
happen and
right. I
um
think the motorcycle accident kind of gave him an excuse to edit. And then with
right.
Masked and Anonymous, I don't think he was even involved. I think as soon as they were done shooting, he just went on tour and,
Oh, he didn't had nothing to do with the editing of this film.
well, I don't know for sure, but I would be surprised if he was
He
involved.
just trusted Larry Charles, and who's the editor of that film? I don't know.
There were like two
Uh,
guys who
uh,
edited it.
uh,
One of whom I think has an executive producer credit on it.
uh,
Pietro Scalia,
uh, uh,
an Italian guy, and then somebody else. But, even when a director is not credited with editing, they're always heavily involved. Because I've never given myself an editing credit, but
but
I
you were
spent
there.
I
Yeah.
spent hours and hours with my editor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But so Larry Charles would have been involved. But I think Dylan, you know,
He was good.
he said, go with God. And then he just moved on.
So then the film you talked about in the book that the film that played at Sundance three showings
Yeah,
was 113 minutes. Is that
correct.
and that version that is like considered the Larry Charles cut, like that's the director's cut because
Larry Charles claims that his ideal cut is 3 hours long.
oh, it has all the songs.
Yes, yeah, it's got all the songs. And I think over the years he said it's 3 hours, and also he said it's 3.5.
Wow.
But apparently Larry Charles has that version on
On
VHS.
VHS, yeah.
So, we need to go to his house.
Yeah.
Just to watch it.
Just to watch it.
I'm not gonna bootleg it.
Yeah, I won't ask you about Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, yeah.
Just-
Keep your Apple Watch in the car.
Exactly.
But Larry Charles was required by the distributor to turn in a version that was an hour and 50 minutes long.
Oh.
Larry told me that on
Oh.
Twitter, by the way. I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, it's an hour. It was an hour 53 because they wanted it to be an hour 50, and then the credits made it an hour 53."
Wow. I mean, the studio wanted it under 2 hours, or they wanted
Yes,
it.
they wanted it at an hour 50, so that's what he turned in. But with credits, it's 1 hour 53, and then the reaction at Sundance was so negative that then he recut it.
Now, since you were at Sundance and you saw it, and you took a picture with Larry Charles, which is in the book,
Yeah.
do you remember what was different about the movie than
Yeah.
what was released later?
I remember some of the differences. I mean, remember, I had no clue it was going to be recut. It's like
No, it's not just there are deleted scenes. Like there's stuff that's moved around.
moved around.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So they cut stuff out because the version that's available now is a little under 107 minutes. So it's only 6+ minutes shorter, almost 7 minutes shorter, but they also put other stuff in. So they cut out more than 7 minutes because they put other things in. And then there are a couple scenes that are the same dramatically, but they were re-edited in a different way. So like when Tom Friend, the Jeff Bridges character, is interviewing Dylan while Dylan is shaving and he's harassing him with all these questions. In the original version, that was edited smoothly, so all the cuts matched. And then when they recut it, they made it jump
Oh, okay.
to make it more dynamic
I
and
see.
to make it feel more agitated. Same thing with Val Kilmer. The Val Kilmer scene was actually a little shorter in the Sundance cut, and it
Really?
was edited smoothly. And then they went back, added a bunch of jump cuts, and put more of him in there. So you're hearing him kind of say the same thing multiple
Yeah, yeah,
times,
yeah.
and I actually think it might have worked better in the original, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that was my next question.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, the thing about Bob Dylan, and we've talked about this before, and you talk about it in your book, is that, this sort of dream, maybe aspiration of as a child, maybe wanting to be a movie star or something like
yeah,
that. And there is something Rob Kelly has mentioned this too on Pod Dylan and Fade Out, that when Bob Dylan is on screen, there is something so magnetic about him. The blue eyes, like almost like Sinatra,
yeah,
like he just also in Hearts of Fire, right? Like the movie when he's not in it is
yeah,
completely unwatchable, and the
totally.
only reason it's watchable when he's in it is because he's in it.
Right.
And there's something so there's it's I can't, the word is escaping right now. It's not magnetic, but it's like you can't take your eyes
Yeah,
off
he's
of him.
charismatic.
Charismatic,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
And I think like the movie for me for Masked Anonymous, I want more Bob Dylan in it.
right. Yeah,
I'm like sort of it's an ensemble cast. You're getting
right.
like it's like the greatest cast ever. Like how did they get all these people? It's
Well, again, like what I was saying about Ronaldo and Clara, he doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah. Yes.
He'll just have these like pithy one-liners where he'll say one thing, you know, I gotta get back to the stage or whatever. And but it's usually like in response to someone who's like talking at him, verbosely.
Right.
And he wrote it. So, I don't think he wanted to give
I
himself a
know.
lot of dialogue. I mean, I don't think I agree with you about his charisma, but I also don't think he's a natural actor.
No, no,
He's
that's
just
the thing. He's
that's
he's
yeah,
incredibly stiff in everything. And I
yeah.
like what you said about this in the book, that like his stiffness
It
is
worked
it works for the purpose of this
because
movie.
Larry knew what he was doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like he cast all these amazing actors to give these very cartoonish performances, and then Larry Charles has said he wanted Dylan to be like Buster Keaton, kind
Yeah.
of show no emotion,
Right.
just be deadpan,
It's-
and that juxtaposition I think works, right? Because there's throughout the history of cinema, there's this long, sort of history of male protagonists who are really quiet and laconic, whether it's a spaghetti
yeah. Or
western
remember
or
what Tony Soprano always says?
Whatever
Whatever
happened
happened
Gary
to
to
Gary
Cooper.
Gary
Cooper, the
Cooper?
strong
The
silent
strong
type.
silent
How many
type.
times did he say that in the
Yeah,
show? Like 5 or 6 times.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. The Western hero,
Yeah. John Wayne.
the
Yeah.
film noir hero. So
Yeah.
that's what he's kind of drawing on. But it's just absurd because it's a science fiction film. um, uh, Pat, you've never seen Pat Garrett, have
Yes,
you?
I have. Yes, I
Oh,
have.
okay,
I
okay.
haven't seen every single cut like you
Okay, you
mentioned
haven't
in the
seen the new cut. The new
book.
cut is the best one.
No, I have only seen whatever was on DVD in 2002 or something.
Well, I'll tell you the interesting thing about watching all five versions of Pat Garrett is Dylan's scenes are the same across all five. It's like everything else is different, but it's like
That's funny.
and I think it's because those were the best possible takes
Takes,
of
right.
him, and so that's consistent. But the first line he delivers in Pat Garrett is I think really hilariously awkward, where someone asks him, what his name means because he's alias,
Alias, yeah.
and he says in this very like low tone of voice, he goes, That's a good question. And it sounds like he's trying too hard. It's like you can tell he thought about how should I deliver this
Right,
line
right.
And it sounds like he's saying it in a tone of voice that is lower than is natural.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Um,
Well, that's the thing. He's naturally charismatic,
yeah,
and when like the director says action, it's like he forgets how to be Bob. It's just like no,
because he's in his head.
right. It's like no,
Yeah,
no, no. They just want you to be Bob Dylan. Like
yeah.
it's sort of like in We Are the World, right? So like he's clearly so uncomfortable. And by the way, I just want to say on the record, I really don't like the when people use the meme
I
of him
agree.
as a way
Yeah,
of being mean to him.
yeah,
Like look how awkward he is. Like
right.
yeah,
Or look how out of it he
yeah, out
is.
of it,
Yeah,
drugged out, whatever. Like I don't like that because, and I actually really appreciate We Are the World as a documentary for redeeming that and explaining the context behind it. So first of all, he's incredibly uncomfortable in that whole thing.
yeah.
He's the main guy. Like the thing was actually built around him. They needed a voice of the 60s
That's
to
right.
legitimize the whole thing.
Yeah,
And then the fact that Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonder had to remind him, "You're Bob Dylan. You're Bob
yeah.
fucking Dylan."
And this is
Like,
how you sing.
and this is how you. And then Stevie Wonder did a pitch perfect Bob Dylan impression. But it's almost like the director, could have been like, no, just be Bob Dylan, and like in Hearts of Fire, for example, like he's so goofy and weird
Yeah,
and also awkwardly stiff, and it's like, no, if you're just like a natural, you are you. And so my point is that to your point in the book, that I think Larry Charles knew what to do with those moments where he's on screen,
yeah.
and especially with the musical
I
performances,
totally agree.
like
Yeah,
using those in you wrote about how in Eat the Document the musical performances are often not even complete
yeah.
and
Like
fragmented,
chopped up.
chopped up,
Yeah,
and same thing with Ronaldo Credit. It's not Ronaldo and Clara. It's not even him a lot of the time.
yeah,
And so it's sort of like Larry Charles in many ways, um, kind of got it what to
yeah.
do with a fictional music concert film,
Right,
right? Which
right.
is the whole. I think you said in the book also that Larry describes it as like an amalgamation of like several like science fiction, concert film, comedy, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's sort of a
Spaghetti
beginning.
Western,
Yeah, yeah.
musical comedy. Yeah,
This Bob Dylan should have been in Pat Garrett and Billy
yeah.
the Kid.
Jack Bate.
Jack Bate, yeah.
Well, I mean, this begs the question, why not just make a concert film
I know.
with that band,
Yeah.
Because Dylan doesn't ever do anything the simple way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even if like they just like Shadow Kingdom, which you write about too, it's kind of like he finally did it.
Yeah.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
If all of those scenes in Master Anonymous of that wide lens, fisheye camera of the five of them were just all in a row, it would be
Yeah.
an amazing concert film and conceptually might be a lot like Shadow Kingdom.
Well, I'm sure that will be released eventually.
That you said that in the book.
Yeah, the Masked and Anonymous concerts. I mean, he played Dirt Road
I
Blues.
know it's the only
It's the
live
only
version.
live performance.
Yeah.
I mean, there were I think what they did was they spent, I think, 2 days shooting all the musical performances, and it was the last thing they did after they had shot all the scenes. So all the cast and crew were there, and they were the audience watching
Oh my
Dylan
God.
play
Oh,
that stuff.
technically it counts as a live performance.
I
So
think
he's played
so.
it one time live.
It counts as much as a corporate gig does. Normies can't buy tickets.
Right, 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 exactly. Well, the fat's in the fire and the water's in the tank, the whiskey's in the jar and the money's in the bank. I tried to love and protect you because I cared. I'm gonna remember forever the joy that we shared. I'm looking at you and I'm on my bended knee. You have no idea what you do to me. I'm 20 miles out of town in cold irons bound. I love that he, gets the fats in the fire, water's in the tank. Like
Yeah,
everything's ready to go, whatever that
yeah,
means. Like and the whiskey's in the jar, money's in the bank. Like everything is prepped. It's sort of like he's ready for this journey 20 miles
yeah.
out of town or something.
Everything is in its right place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But then he still has this little, it's always like the third and fourth verse is like this little, turns it into a love song. And
Right, right,
that's an
right.
interesting
Yeah,
structure. I tried to love and protect you because I cared. And it's like, you know, hearing Bob Dylan be so open and sensitive and
yeah,
vulnerable there,
totally.
the character he plays in these Jack Frost albums is sort of like this tough guy and cowboy kind of
Who
thing.
talks about how he can kill you all the different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he's think about like, some of the language in early Roman kings,
Yeah.
which isn't very PC,
Yeah.
but it's fine. And
Yeah.
but here he's very sensitive and open. He's like, I care. And it's like, Bob Dylan cares. He really cares.
And I'm gonna remember forever
Forever.
all the
The joy
joy
we
we've
share.
shared.
That
Yeah.
really, I mean,
Sweet
sweet.
sentiment.
You think of the person who is famously and notoriously d doesn't look back, don't look back,
Yeah.
and is constantly moving forward and evolving, but he's going to remember the joy we shared. And that when I heard it now, it just kind of hit me as like a I made up my mind to give myself to you kind of moment. Like
Yeah.
it felt very communal, like maybe he was singing. I don't think that's what he meant here, but that's what's so great about Bob Dylan
Yeah.
is you can
Yeah.
take these songs in any decade and they're timeless.
Totally. I'm gonna remember forever all the joy
I
that we've shared with
agree. Yeah.
with my audiences.
All right, so Mike, before we wrap things up, I do have an exit question for you. But
Sure.
first, is there anything else you want to say about this book that I didn't cover, I didn't ask you about that you want to, that is, appropriate for this this space?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I'm good.
Okay. Did I prove to you that I read the book?
You did. Yes, I have your questions were good.
Okay, great. Well, I just want to, if I may, blow smoke up your ass for a little bit. I have resisted in texting you over these many days since I have read it,
Uh,
telling you how much because I wanted to do it here. This was so original, and I did tell you this actually. So academic, so original, and so accessible.
yeah.
Um, very much it made me feel very much in the way that I did reading Stephen Rings's book. It's hard to write a Bob Dylan book that hasn't
Yeah.
been written
Right,
before.
right, right.
And
Yeah.
he's the most written about person besides Jesus and Abraham Lincoln, I think. And
Yeah.
you did it. Like it's really it is so accessible. It's only 4 chapters.
Yeah.
I really just I encourage everyone out there, please go pick up this book. And
Ah.
you don't have to know anything about film. You don't have to know anything about Bob Dylan. If you know about it, either of those things, even sort of just casually, you'll love this book.
Well, thank you for saying that. And I hope someday you write a Bob Dylan book because here's the thing, I never thought I would do it in a million years, but I did at a certain point think, oh, there is kind of a void here. No one else, if I don't write this book, no one else is going to do it,
Right.
And I think you could probably do the same thing. You could write about Bob Dylan and wrestling. Yeah, that could be that presentation you gave could be the acorn that grows the great oak, you know?
Thank you. Well, certainly this book would inspire me to do something like that
Yeah,
because, you know, I I got to live through the process with you, having breakfast with you, and you telling me about the process, and you kind of wrote it like Cold Iron's Bound. I mean, you were in the zone. It
yeah,
was or kind of one of the like Highway 61 Revisited. Like you just locked in and you wrote this thing
yeah,
fast and you edited it fast and you published it fast, kind of
yeah.
like the way you make a film.
That's very true. Yeah, yeah.
So maybe you were
I don't.
channeling some Cold Iron's Bound.
Yep, perhaps I was. I also should point out, I got divorced, so
A staple of Bob Dylan being creative. Yes.
exactly. Yeah, he only plays idiot when his marriage is, blow up.
Right, right. Well, yeah, again, and you don't need to have seen these movies to accept to find your book accessible. Again, it helps, and I think what it does is it redeems those movies in a way that they've been dismissed, and they're not easy to get. Obviously, the first two, The
Yeah,
Doc and Ronald and
mhm.
Carey, you have to dig a little bit. But you ask any Dylan fan, they'll be able to find it for you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think like if I were Bob Dylan, I would be appreciative to you for taking his making seriously in the way that I think he both wanted to be taken seriously and deserves to be taken seriously.
Yeah, and I hope that these films are seen and reevaluated. That was the main reason why I wrote it, is because they're an important part of his, canon of work. And people just don't know about them, or people do know about them, but they've never actually bothered to sit down and watch them.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, in some small way, this book will get more eyeballs on those movies.
And I should say also, these are the three main films you cover, but you also talk about Garrett and Billy the Kid. You talk about the Rolling Thunder review. You talk about Shadow Kingdom and A Complete Unknown. And so one of the things I was amazed by, Mike, is like you had a quote in there from 2025. I'm like, wait, it was just 2025. How did you get that in the
Oh, so
book?
I talk about the at the very end in the appendix, I talk about Farm Aid
That's
25.
right. That's right. We just watched that. We were texting during that a few months
I'm
ago.
so happy to do that because that was like the 11th hour of copy editing. My copy editor and I were going back and forth, and then I just wrote to the publishers after Farm Aid, and I said, "You guys, I know that I said it was done, and I know it's got to go to print soon." I said, "But Dylan just played Farm Aid over the weekend, and I am talking about in the appendix all of his most prominent film and television appearances." And I'm like, I think it would be really sweet if we could just throw this paragraph in. They were like, "Fine, we'll do it."
But no more. Nothing.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was very impressive. I was like, wait, that just happened. How did you
That
get that?
was September, I think. Or
Yeah.
was it October?
September was the
September.
end of
Yeah,
Outlaw. We
yeah.
saw him the night before, I think, in Alpine Valley.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, that's truly, I mean, congratulations, kudos to you on just a tremendous accomplishment, and to be in the canon, to be on the shelf in the Tulsa Library, probably at some point, someone else put that on
I just sent it to Stephen
Oh,
Jenkins,
great,
and he got it today and emailed me and thanked
perfect,
me. So
great.
yeah, I'd love to collaborate with them on some kind of event.
Great. So,
Yeah.
where can folks find you? Where can folks pick up the book? Where can folks see Hecla?
So my website is the best place to go, which is michaelgloversmith.com. And there's a page devoted to my books, and there are links to bookshop.org as well as Amazon. And then there's also a page devoted to my film work, and so you can find out where Hecla is going to be screening over the next year.
Great.
So for the next year, I'll be promoting, both the book and the film, and hopefully, I think I'm going to travel around with the book
Great.
as well as the film. Like I really want to do an event in New York City. I think that's going to happen, and I think I'm going to also try and do an event in the Twin Cities, which is Dillon Country,
Dillon Country, the North
yeah.
Country. When this airs on March 15th, we will have already seen, you will have already had your book launch party at the Music Box Theater,
Yes,
where you are going to be screening
Masked and
Mass
Anonymous,
Anonymous.
35 millimeter.
It will be my first time seeing it on the big screen.
Wow.
So, because
Okay.
when it came out, my brother and I went to the Music Box, and it was sold out. We missed our chance.
That's
I
incredible.
think it was either the
Yeah.
Music Box or like Logan. It was one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't free the next, whatever 2 weeks that it played in theaters or
Right,
whatever.
right.
So I'm very excited. Or I will have already been very excited by the time this airs. All right. Before I let you go, Mike,
Yeah.
I have an exit question for
Yeah.
you. If you could have one chance to see a full high definition version of either Eat the Document, Ronaldo and Clara, or the director's cut of Masked and Anonymous in IMAX, what would you choose and why?
I would choose Masked and Anonymous. And here's why. Ronaldo and Clara, a 4K scan of the full film exists. Okay, so Nick Newman on Twitter, he's a film critic who writes for the film stage.
Mhm.
He's probably known to Dylan World for being the guy that Dylan called referenced in a tweet. Do you remember when Dylan said,
Yes.
Nick Newman asked me if I had any movie recommendations? I told him to watch The Unknown with Lon Chaney.
Oh, yes, that was the unknown tweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy he was talking about is an actual film critic. And Nick Newman tweeted recently that he spoke to an editor who watched a 4K scan of Ronaldo and Clara for another project, another film project. So it exists.
Where is that?
What? Who knows? It's not in the Bob Dylan archive, I can tell you that much.
It's not on a VHS in Larry Charles' basement.
No, no. I mean,
Wow.
I think he whoever watched it probably did so through Dylan's management.
Wow. So does that mean Dylan's people would be the ones who had restored it?
I think I mean my guess would be that Scorsese restored it
Oh, for
for
Rolling Thunder Reviewer. Right.
yes, because I did see an HD scan of Eat the Document in the Bob Dylan archive. It's there. It's from 2004.
Because they've been doing that for all that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
actually, the version I saw was from 2004, and I think it was not, I think it wasn't, you know, transferred and restored as well as it could have been. And
Uh-huh.
I think they've continued to try and,
All right.
I think it maybe it wasn't even in the right speed,
Mm.
but since then they've continued to work on it. But still, seeing it in HD was revelatory.
Wow.
It was
So
amazing.
you've seen Eat the
I've
Document.
seen Eat the Document in HD.
Like the scene with like Lennon and Dylan in the car, like you saw that in high definition.
Yes, yes. Because not only do they have Eat the Document where that scene is short, they have the outtakes. That it's all on a computer monitor. You just click on the files and watch them. So the Lennon Dylan limo ride, it's the full thing is quite
Him
long.
and Robbie playing in that little garden
Yeah,
over coffee.
yeah.
Oh,
And I also saw, not to brag, but I saw D.A. Pennebaker's cut of the material, which is called Now You Know Something Is Happening.
right. You write about that at length in the
But
book.
the reason why I would really choose Masked and Anonymous is because the director's cut is something that I don't know if we will ever see. The 3 hour version, the Larry Charles VHS.
When you say what you think will eventually be released, you think it's the what was that Sundance will be eventually released.
I mean, ideally, they should put out all three versions, right, on the same in a box set, along with the whole concert.
Yeah.
You know, while I'm dreaming up of things
Yeah.
that I would like to happen, yeah, make a
But
Criterion Collection box set.
but in this imaginary scenario, you would choose Mass
I would
Anonymous, the
choose Masked and
director's.
Anonymous because I think
Right.
seeing the 3 hour version would be it's something we may not get to see, and it would be probably very surprising.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank
Did
you.
it again.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. Look for the next episode on the 15th day of the month in all of your podcast feeds. If you're subscribing to Apple Podcasts, please take a moment and give us a rating or review. It's the best way to spread the word about the show. For a video version of the podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Songs of Bob Dylan. You can, of course, email us at songsofbobdylan@gmail.com. Thank you to my friend and mentor, Rob Kelly, for designing our fabulous logo, and to my mandolin teacher, Mark Mitchell, from the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago, for teaching me how to play the intro and the outro. If you'd like to help support the cost of hosting my podcasts, go to patreon.com/gonzo3249. For $5, I'll show my gratitude by giving you a shout out. So thank you to Rob Kelly, Joachim Meckel, Roberta Rakove, Matt Simonson, Christopher Vani. For $10, I'll send you a surprise piece of vintage Bob Dylan merch. So thank you to the girl from the North Country, Katie Surovic. Speaking of merch, I have a store. Lots of fun stickers, shirts, hats, and other goodies for you. So check it out at henryjbernstein.com. Thank you to my Substack subscribers, Mark Godfrey, Linda Maltzby, George Pasella, Bonnie Ramba, Nancy Cobb, and Peter White. You can check that out at henrybernstein.substack.com. Truly, I love you all. Thank you again, and see you next time.